All right, so to get started today, we need our Color in the Crayons worksheet. There are 6 different crayons and each one's going to get a different color today. Now if you want to use markers or crayons or colored pencils, that's up to you. I'm going to use crayons because I like to color my crayons with crayons. And I'm going to go in rainbow order, okay? So rainbow order has red going first. So I have my red crayon right here and I'm going to neatly color inside this whole crayon. So I kind of like to turn my paper when I color because I color side to side. You can do that if you want. Do your best to stay inside the lines. You don't have to go big like this. They're not big crayons, so you don't have to worry about going too big for that. I'm gonna keep on coloring. And now my red crayon is done. So if we look at our rainbow, the next color in our rainbow is orange. Now with orange, you want to be careful with what you grab because some of them look a little reddish, some of them look a little yellowish. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test on the back which one I like the best. Those ones look pretty much the same and they look like a good orange. So I think I'm just going to grab one of those and I'm going to color this crayon orange. Now some people like to kind of color around the outside first like this and then color the inside. That works too. I am good with either way you want to color, but remember, neatness counts. Our goal is to stay inside the crayon as best as possible. Now back to our rainbow order. Next one up is yellow, and yellow's one of our tricky ones because sometimes you'll get a yellow and it ends up looking like orange, or sometimes you'll get a yellow and it ends up looking like green. Because, well, they're right next to each other in the rainbow, so they do that sometimes. So for example, I've got these 2 different yellows here. That one's really bright. It's almost like a bright orange. That one's more of like a true yellow. And some of them, let's see if I can find an example here. Sometimes you'll get ones that like they're called yellow-green, so like that's yellow-green, so that's not good. But you just want to be careful. That one's kind of yellow. I think I'm gonna go with my true yellow right there. I'm just gonna flip it over and I'm gonna color in. So with crayons, remember, if you barely push, you'll get a lighter color. If you push harder, you'll get darker. That's up to you how you wanna do that. All right, so I've got the first half of my rainbow done. And these are actually what we call the warm colors. They're the hot colors. So these are colors that you would use for things like fire or the sun. All right, so anything that falls in here in our rainbow is a warm color. So if you have warm colors, you have to have cold colors. These guys are gonna be my cold colors. And the next one in our rainbow order is green. So just like with yellow, you're gonna wanna watch out because you remember that yellow-green that I grabbed. I don't know if I'd call that a very good green. You might even run into like some turquoises or blue greens. It depends on what you have in your crayon box. So different crayons look like different things. It's up to you. I think I'm gonna go with this nice true green and I'm going to carefully color in that crayon. This is the first of our cold colors in our rainbow order. Alrighty. Back to our rainbow. So it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Blue's my next one. Now blue can be tricky because sometimes, especially if they don't have a wrapper on them, so that one kind of looks purple to me. I don't think that this is gonna be a good blue. I've got, let's see here, this one's called a cadet blue. That's kind of grayish. This one's called turquoise. That one would maybe work. Let's see here. I just want like a nice, there we go. I got a nice water blue here. So I am going to color in this one blue. The whole crayon, doing our best to stay inside our lines. And then last crayon gets purple, okay? Now your crayon might also say violet on it. That's fine too. So we're gonna look, and so, that's a good purple. You might have a light purple like this one. You might have, there's ones that are called like red violet. So they look a little bit pinker like that. I think I'm just gonna go with this one right here. That's a good, nice, like the like a grape purple, okay? So I'm gonna color that in. And remember, if you accidentally break your crayon because you're pushing too hard, that's fine. Now you just have 2 crayons. Like this one, you can tell it used to be longer, but it probably broke somewhere along the way. We use crayons a lot in the art room. Alrighty. Remember, neatness always counts. Do our best. And so now I've got my rainbow of crayons, and I need to turn my rainbow into a color wheel. All right, so in your folder, you're gonna have like a tannish piece of paper. Now, if this paper accidentally got destroyed or damaged or something, a white piece of paper or even the yellow paper of your folder works just fine too. Okay, so this is what we're gonna glue our color wheel onto. It's a nice square, and we are going to start by cutting out our first crayon. Now, my scissors are a little bit bigger than yours because my hands are a little bit bigger, so you got to be careful with that. And remember, when we use our scissors, our thumb goes in the top, the little hole, and then our fingers go in the big hole on the bottom. Now, you don't need to shove all your fingers in the big hole. If you can't fit them all, you might just need 2, you might need 3. If you can only fit 1, you might need to get some bigger scissors like Miss Colbart. And we are going to cut out our crayon. When we cut, the thumb is always on the top. Okay, and then if you want to leave what I like to call safety space, which is a little bit of white around the outside, that's fine for this project. Don't ever cut towards your hand, all right? So I'm going to put my thumb off to the side like this so it's nice and safe, and I'm going to start cutting, and I'm leaving some safety space here, and you know what? You can go right off the edge, that way you don't have to deal with this big piece of paper anymore. All right, and then I've got this one. And I gotta turn. You gotta do your best here. This scrap can get recycled now. Turn. All right, so I've got my red crayon cut out. Now, our color wheel, we're gonna put it so that our red is at the top. So we want the red right in the middle at the top, pointing to the center. If you want to use a glue stick or a glue bottle, that's fine. I'm going to use a glue stick. So I'm going to get the whole thing around the outside. And you know what? It could probably just do with one down the middle. Right in the center. And now we need to hold it for 10 seconds. So the glue sticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now it's stuck. All right, now we are actually going to jump across the color wheel. Colors that are across from each other on the color wheel are called complementary colors. So if we look at our color wheel, right across from red is green. So green is the next crayon that I'm going to cut out. And I'm going to be careful again. I've got that big piece there that I don't need. And I'm never cutting towards my fingers. Thumb is always on the top. I like to kind of keep my space organized here, so I'm putting my scraps off to the side like that. All right, so my green and my red are gonna touch in the middle because we're gonna have all of our crayons touch in the middle, okay? And it depends on how much safety space you gave yourself. If you didn't give a lot, then they might not touch as much. But red goes right across from green. It's like we're making a line of crayons. So I'm gonna put some more glue on my crayon here. Glue. And then I've gotta hold it for 10 seconds again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we have 4 colors left, okay? We're gonna do our warm colors first. So if we look at our color wheel, red is right next to orange and green is right next to yellow. So I'm gonna cut out my orange. I got this big scrap here. I'm gonna be very careful. Never cut towards yourself. Turn my paper, get rid of that scrap for right now. All right. Now, our orange needs to go next to the red, not right next to it like this, because we want it to be like a big wheel, okay? So it's gonna point to the center like the rest, but also to the corner, like this one right here. Okay, so it's kind of like we're making a diagonal line this way. So I'm gonna put some glue down. Put it down, and then I'm gonna need to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now this one is gonna be yellow, because if we look at our color wheel, yellow is in between green and orange, and that is important. Our color wheel goes in a very specific order because that tells us what colors make other colors. And we'll talk more about that later. Today we're just making our wheel, all right? We're practicing our coloring and our cutting skills. So I'm slowly gonna run out of crayons here and get plenty of scraps. Now, just like with our yellow, it doesn't go right next to the green or right next to the orange. We're gonna have it point to this corner and the center. So I'm gonna flip it over, put some glue down, and glue. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so I'm done with my 3 warm colors, which leaves me with 2 cold colors left. So for those cold colors, I have blue and I have purple. If we look at our color wheel, blue goes next to green and is across from orange, they're opposites. And purple goes next to red and is across from yellow. Those guys are opposites. So I need to do the same with my color wheel. I am going to cut out my blue one first. Careful. I've practiced my cutting a lot, so I can go a little quicker than you probably can. There we go. I've got my nice crayon here. And so just like with those guys, he doesn't go right next to it. This one's gonna point across to the orange, like they're making a line like this, because they're opposites of each other. Put my glue down, flip it over, and I count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alrighty, one more and my color wheel is done. Now, in the classroom or online, you'll probably see some super fancy color wheels that have all sorts of colors. Or like if you go to the home improvement store and you go to the paint section, they have so many colors. These are the 6 super basic colors. All those other colors would be like in between our color wheels, or crayons on our color wheel. And we'll talk more about that as we get more and more into art. But we're only gonna focus on these 6 today. So purple's my last one, and it's opposite the yellow, which means it's across from it, going to the opposite corner, okay? So I'm gonna put my glue on my crayon here. Careful not to overdo it. It doesn't need too much glue. It's not a big crayon. And then I'm gonna hold it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so now my crayon color wheel is done. If you wanna go in and decorate in between with like a pencil or a black marker or something, that's fine. But our color wheel has 1, 2, 3 warm colors, 1, 2, 3 cold colors, and the opposites are opposite each other, which means we're done.